Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cat Club Director's Commentary, Episode 2. And we'll be talking about Cat Club Episode 2. So, I don't know what. I guess we're starting with this page because this is the first one for the Episode 2. I don't. I won't have as much to say about this one as I did with the other one, but this was, I think, one of my first drawings of Oritsu. So she does look a little different later on, definitely. I don't know. I went with a similar sort of vibe as the first cover page, because that one was just Rin doing a little pose. So here we have Oritsu doing a little pose. The difference here in what I was doing was I used a little gradient for some added shading, and I put the white outline around her so she popped against the background. Both are things that I did not do with the first cover page, but I did that here. So yeah, that. I also used gradients for characters' hair and clothing and stuff. I did that because, well, I didn't want them to just be white. The only character that I don't do this for at this point in the story is Rin, because her hair is just black, and she has a white shirt and a black skirt and socks. And I think that that works out for me because she really stands out compared to everyone else. They all stand out against one another, but Rin being the main character, she has all the dark colors on her, and she has the most contrast with her outfit, so she stands out a little bit more. At least until you color them and you see how pink Choco is. Then she really starts to stand out more, but in black and white, Rin is the one who stands out, and I think that was a good move. Definitely. And I'm sticking with the numbers here on the cover pages. Yeah, that's it. I'm sticking with the numbers. There's nothing to say about the numbers. I just used them because I thought that was a neat little touch. So there you have it. So we're in the bathroom. This is, I think at this point, maybe the most detailed background I've had to draw. Yes. Well, I guess maybe this, but that's not really a background. So at this point, this is the most detailed background I've had to draw, with the stalls and the sinks and the mirror. Yeah, well, you can tell, I guess, maybe, but I just copy and pasted the same sink. uh, which I guess is fine because you don't see the whole thing anyway, so no one's really gonna notice, and it doesn't get in the way of anything. So, and I really just wanted to save time on all this because I was doing the lines in the background even, and that was really not fun to do, but that's what I did here. And getting into the dialogue here, I think, yeah, this is kind of the first time that we see the speech bubbles like this, which was another stylistic choice. Well, I guess they look kind of jagged here as well, but I still kind of rounded them out at the corners here. But I always liked how this looked better when I was doing this. And you can tell because I still do this. I still make them do that. Another thing, the letters. Whereas here I put text down and then I wrote over it to make it sort of fit the style better. I just said screw it, and I just used one of the, well, not the default text, not the default font, but like this bold serif font. I forget what it was, but I don't remember. But it was, it's this. Yeah. And Choco looks a little different here, but I'll talk about that more on the next page. And I really liked this face that I drew for Ren. It's a small thing, but I liked it. I thought it was cute. Yeah. And so, I guess we're sort of, not really breaking the fourth wall, but, making a meta joke. So Rin doesn't really believe what Choco's saying about the club or her powers or anything. And she's like, "You think I have powers like a superhero? This ain't a comic book." Uh, but it is. Rin, you utter fool! You are in a comic book. How did you not notice? um, and here in the thumbnails, something different happened. So here's the thing I was talking about in part one, where I just left things blank like this. I was like, well, I know what I want to put in there, but I don't want to like write it out. So I'm just going to leave it blank. And then I'll come back to it later. And well, I don't know. I did come back to it, but like I didn't know what I wanted to say here. So I just have her go, "Wait, huh? Choco, was it? What?" And like I don't know. Like I could have had a more solid plan, but I didn't. And she's like, "Oh, you don't expect me to believe that, huh?" And then here she would have said, "Well, you do have like 9-inch claws growing out of your finger, like out of your fingers." And then we'd get this where we confirm that her nails are indeed 9 inches long, which is a reference to an obscure industrial rock band. Yeah. And then she's like, "Okay, you've made your point, but what's the point in telling me all this?" And this I didn't draw it. I just left it in the thumbnails. It never happened. But now you're seeing it. So here this is. Did I draw this one? No, I didn't. I didn't draw it. I didn't draw this one either. So I left these two out. Mostly to save on time, and it wasn't really necessary. And I don't know. I kind of wish that I left them in there just because I don't know, like saving on time is cool, and having not super long episodes is also really cool. Brightness. Um so Uh, yeah, those things are cool. But uh, what was I saying? Right, those things are cool, but I really wish I had maybe just a little more time to flesh out the characters and their dynamic and stuff. At least early on, I'm gonna get more chances in the future, but I mean, it's better to do more of it at the start than later on. But whatever, it is what it is. Um, and Choco's hair has changed from the last episode. Um, now she has this little swoop that will only get bigger with time. And I really did not know what to do with her hair. Um, cause like this was fine, but it was weird. It was weird to draw from like different angles, and it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't look bad, I guess, but it doesn't. It didn't quite fit the character. I don't think. At least not in my opinion. Um, I don't know. And here I am sticking with the round bump that I mentioned before. Um, and her wrist thingies. Oh no, Choco's wrist thingies are gone. These things, yeah, you don't see those anymore. So I guess we'll live with it. um, um, and so Rin goes from this like that's kind of bullshit. I don't know what you're talking about. To getting all flustered and excited because uh Choco wants her to join a social group that she's part of, or a club, I guess. But um, you know, she's nervous and she's doing the little pokes that she was doing in the other episode, to be cute. That's it. That's the only reason. Um, she's like, I know it's weird, but I think you could use some friends you can relate to. Because I mean, she's got these weird powers and she doesn't know what to do with it. So like, it's probably a good thing to hang out with people who understand her, you know. Um, and I guess this is a part of what I was going for with Choco, that she's really nice, and not just like generous or whatever, but like she's like very careful about her wording with stuff too, um, or at least I'm careful with uh, writing her, because I don't want her to say anything that's like that could even be interpreted as mean, or you know like she's just supposed to be like nice no matter how you look at what she says. um and it's uh I guess it's pretty comforting, um as it should be, because you know uh well, I guess as you'll see in episode 4, she manages to pull some like pretty extreme emotions out of Rin, um, probably without even trying. So I'm excited to get to that, but we're here right now. So uh, let's see. Little question mark. I don't know. That was fun to do, I guess. And then here we have little circle thingies. I think that was a tool that Ibis had, or like a brush or something, and I just put those there. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. And I did this little outside inside thing with Rin, and I thought it was cute. Because she's too nervous to admit it, but uh, she's really excited at the idea of having friends. And as we know about Rin, I guess so far, um, she she like cries herself to sleep, um, but like only when she's in bed and stuff. Um, you know, and well, I don't know how to explain it, but like she's more comfortable like when I write her, I'm careful about like when and where she shows emotion. It's like and like what kind of emotions she shows. Uh, she feels a little more comfortable expressing herself when she's like alone. Um, but she has the desire to be around others, and like uh, when that happens, she's a little more nervous and she doesn't know how to act, so she just kind of keeps it to herself. Um, so she's like, okay, we'll meet at room 4B after school. Um, I have nothing interesting to say about the classroom number. that that's just where it is. So yeah. Well, you know what? I do have something interesting to say. So their club uh is in a classroom. Um I yeah. Um and I don't entirely know how this works in Japanese schools, but I think generally they have club rooms that are separate from the classrooms. And I don't know, maybe some clubs in Japanese schools, maybe some of them are like in the classrooms after school, but I really don't know if that's the case. And I mean, that's my fault. Like, I should have studied more about this stuff before going into it, because I mean, it's never stated, but this is like supposed to be set in Japan. Um, so, uh, my mistake. That's my mistake. I Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have tried to pick a setting that I was more familiar with, if I knew that these were issues that would have come up. Um, I'm guessing most people who read won't care, but um, I care. it it bothers me a little bit, but there's not much I can do to change it now, so we'll just roll with it. We'll just go with it, you know. Um, and here we're going to reveal an aspect of how derivates work. Um, so uh, this is about it. Um, so she retracts her teeth by relaxing her jaw. So she just needs to do the same with her hand. Um, so like as you'll learn later in this episode, and this is a long episode, so it is a bit later, but uh, dead bodies are really simple. There's not a lot to them. So you get bitten by an animal, and then you get your power, and that power is activated by flexing or focusing or whatever, and then it is then you stop using it by relaxing. So there's some other ones that uh, in the future that I have yet to cover that work a little bit differently, but for the most part, it's the same uh, principle. So we'll I'll explain more dead bodies as we get to them, but it's not it's not a it's not a complicated power system by any means. And then we get this inhale exhale sort of thing, and I don't know, it's cute. Like, I was proud of this because my art style was starting to get a little bit more defined, and I was drawing things a little bit more consistently. And that was making me happy. So that was cool. And we got normal hands. Yay. I liked this when I drew it. I still like this. This is cute. It's just cute. That's all there is to it. She's like, wow, thanks. And she's like, yeah, it's no problem at all. I'm glad I could help. And again, like, just her being like really nice, you know. And I don't know, it's little things, but it makes all the difference in like in their dialogue. Like I don't know, they both talk really informally. But like Choka's just nice, and Ren's like um well, she acts kind of like a punk, I guess. And she's not really like a delinquent or anything, but she's definitely like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain her, like her attitude and stuff, like before having friends, because like I don't I don't cover it that much at all. Like when we go back here, you know, we got like what? How many is it? Like 9 pages before she meets Choco. Um, but I don't know. It's not much, but like she's just like a little rude, like casually rude to people. Um, and I don't know, maybe there's gonna be a little bit more of that later on, but I I don't know. I feel like so far her personality isn't as fleshed out as I would like it to be. Um, but there is more of this episode left, and we're going to learn more about her. So I only drew one sink in this panel. That's it. That's all I have to. Cause I don't. I could have just copied and pasted it like I did with the other one, but I didn't do that. So there's only one sink now, and there were like 3 before, but yeah. And here we have Choco running away. I would probably draw it a little differently now. Um, but I don't know. Like the main difference with my old art and my new art is that this was just it's a little flat, and that's all. Um, I'll probably explain why I think that a little more later, but you can probably see for yourself. Um, anyway, she's happy now, and she's saying, "Looks like things are finally going my way, even if my new friend is a little strange." And it's just kind of sweet, you know. Like there's well, it's sweet. um, yeah, and now we've already got a bit of a style change this early on. So before in episode 1, uh, you know, my shading was all like rough, like all over the place, as you can see. And then, well, I guess it started here, but my lines are a lot cleaner and more evenly spaced. So, um, I don't know. I think it looks a little better in some places. Um, I don't know, but I do like how this all looks. It's really cute and it's just fun. Um, yeah, I don't know. These early chapters are really cute and fun. So I'm glad I made these, and I'm glad I made them the way that I did. Also, um, and then here we get them. Here we get Choco opening the door, and you know the light shines through because the window's open. And oh my god, the desks! I had to draw all of the desks. They're not lined up evenly. They have wobbly legs. They look flat. It this was just like a complicated page. Like this took me um well, I don't even know how long, but this was hours. This is hours. Uh jeez. And it has like it has all these characters in it and they all have different designs and it's so ugh. Um and I haven't drawn any of them. Well, I have drawn them, but these two I haven't drawn them in a while. Outside of this episode, they don't show up again. I mean, they will, but you know, they don't show up outside of this episode so far. Um, I have drawn them a couple times, like little doodles and sketches, but this is mostly it. And this is Popu. Um, I'll have a lot to say about her in the next arc, but right now I'll just I'll just leave her here. And so, you know, we've rin being all awkward. Um, and she says, uh, "Hi, I'm a Rin. A cat bit me." And then I drew this little face, um, because she's all frustrated and confused and she doesn't know what to do. And I thought this was cute. I thought it was funny. Because like so far it's all been like really cartoonish faces. So like I thought it'd be really funny if I zoomed in on her face and it was like more detailed than everything else so far. Um, little did I know what that would get me started on, but well, I'll get to that in a few pages here. Um, this maybe you recognize it, and maybe you don't. Uh, so she's reading a book, um, but this isn't just a book. This is a manga. This is a oh man, what volume is this specifically? I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Let's see. 23. That's what it was. Volume 23 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 8, JoJolion. Um, I think this was the newest one, the newest volume at the time of me drawing this. Um, and I guess I'll talk about it a little bit, but not too much because that's not what this video is about. But JoJo's one of my favorite manga ever, just because of the pure style, and it's been a huge inspiration for this, and it's so unique and different, and um, it inspired a lot of my art, but mostly my desire to have a really unique style that stands out. Um, and not necessarily to copy JoJo, but to find my own unique style that sort of makes me different from others. Um, this isn't deep or anything. It's just a funny little reference. But like, I feel very strongly about JoJo, and JoJolien's my favorite part because the art is just it's so cool, and I love the story and the characters and everything. It's great. Go read or watch JoJo. Either one doesn't matter. Um, Great series. Anyway, moving on. So Rin's all awkward. She's like, Choco, I don't know what to say. And Oritsu's showing up here. And they all get a reaction to Oritsu being here. So I have something to say here. It's skipping over that for now. I'll talk about it at the end. Let's see. Well, I haven't talked about a lot of this. Like, so much of this is just blank. Oh my god. Okay. This whole page is blank. Oh, why did I do this? What is wrong with me? Okay. So in the thumbnails here, I didn't know how to draw settings at all. So what I did was I just took a picture of a Japanese classroom and I used that for sort of reference. And in the end, you don't get this image at all that I used in the background. So don't think I stole anything because I didn't. But yeah, this page was really rough for me. Okay, and here in the thumbnails, I had a different plan. So Ren was gonna be all like happy and like trying to be bubbly and all like, oh hey everyone, how are you? And they don't say anything. And she's more like surprised than like nervous, and she's like, what? And then she was going to get angry, and she was going to say, who taught you manners? And then I don't know, something else. I don't know what she was going to say because it's not written here. and and then they all look scared. At which point you would find that Oritsu is behind her. And then we get into the fight. But no, instead I decided to have her do this because I mean, I don't know. The thumbnails are more in line with that punk sort of delinquent vibe that I wanted to give her. Um, but also it felt weird. Like, I don't know about out of character, but um, it felt kind of strange. I don't know, but uh, moments like this are really important for defining a character. Um, like how she's meeting new people after not having friends for maybe her whole life. Um, how does she introduce herself? How does she engage with these people? And not only that, but how do they react to it, right? Um, and these two, like, they're all too entranced in what they're doing, so much so that they don't care to acknowledge her. And well, she's just asleep, but um, even with that, Orisu's presence wakes her up. Uh, so you know, again, it's these little moments, but they say a lot about your characters. So you know, if you're writing your own story, watch out for this stuff, um, and really make sure you know what your characters would do. Um, and it's really important to remember these little moments, just because they say so much about your character, and they help contribute to the mental image that is generated in the minds of your audience when they see your character. Um, so yeah, yep. Uh, so I guess that's kind of why I left it out here. Oh, oh boy. Huh. How about that? What's the what's the deal with this, huh? Okay, so let's talk about that for a little bit. Now that I'm done talking about characters. So the episode starts here, right? It starts here, and we get this. And episode 1 ended here. So why, after like how 7 pages, does the episode end again? And then we get episode 2 again? What is this? What is this? What's happening? Well, you see, the thing is, uh, um, well, I figured all of this could just be part of episode 1, and then episode 1 would be a little bit longer. And then, I had so much planned for episode 2. It's like all this. And um I figured, well, episode 2 is just going to be really long, so I might as well just extend episode 1 a little bit and then cut it off here and then have episode 2. But then I didn't do that. And episode 1 ended up being 14 pages, and then episode 2 ended up being like 28. So there's that. I don't know. It's not really an issue. It's just a little thing that happened with uh, the planning. Plans changed. Yes, the plan changed. So here, she kind of like notices that everyone is, or like looking behind her, or they're not focused on her. She's like, is something behind me? And now we get this, and this is interesting because this is, I think, my first action in the story. So let's dissect what happens here. Oritsu grabs Rin by the head and throws her again by the head, so much so that she goes full horizontal and crashes into some lockers that get dented in. And it knocks the wind out of Rin. So, like, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to talk too much about Cat Club power scaling because it doesn't matter. But this is like, well, you know what? It's not the most absurd thing that happens in Cat Club because you'll see in the next arc. But I think this is a little fun to look at. Regardless of whether or not it makes any sense, this is fun. Okay, this is fun, or at least I thought it was fun. And so, fun has always been my main concern with this story. And we get a style shift here. Everything gets all rough and scratchy. And I do continue to do this a little bit later on. But like everything's all detailed and stuff. And for these faces, I'd say I was like for my comedic faces, I was inspired by One Piece. Because One Piece has like a lot of really silly and goofy expressions in it. So I think it works well for having those, those kinds of expressions in it. And these don't really look like One Piece faces, but that was my inspiration for that. And I don't know. I guess you can kind of see that here in the thumbnails with Choco's face. But I kind of knew that I wanted to like get a little more detailed with this stuff here, because I thought that would be funny. And I guess it is kind of funny. And now we're back into the clean lines and the more stylized look. And we get already to like, who is this? An enemy? You have some nerve confronting my team this way. Everyone's like, and well, in the thumbnails here, wrong one. Her hair was all messed up, and I feel like I should have kept that in the main version, but in the final version, but I didn't do that, so we get this instead, and that's fine. It's just I wish I did something a little different there to show that she was more ruffled up. And Choco's like, this is Rin, she's the new recruit I told you about. And then Oritsu like, changes real fast. She's like, oh, I see, forgive me. And this is, well, aside from this is Rin's first real introduction to anyone other than Choco in the club. And you know what? I'll talk about this for a little bit. I almost feel like I shouldn't have had anybody in here. I mean, at least you get to see the other club members. But I feel like if none of them were there, that says so much more than if all of them were there and they don't say anything or do anything. um, I don't know. I feel like it would have been a little more interesting. Um, but this is what we have, and this is what we're sticking with. So I don't know. I have things that I would do differently now, and that's normal. So, moving on. This is the first club member that Rin's meeting outside of Choco, and you know, um, you know, her first impression of Oritsu is that uh, she can chuck people several feet into some lockers. um, and she's startled and like even more nervous. And then we get this, and Rin's like, oh, maybe she really is nice, and we get this. Um, they're looking into each other's eyes, and I'm just gonna say it. There is supposed to be romantic subtext. It, I don't know. Well, you'll have to see where things go in the future. Uh, but uh, I'm just gonna tell you right now. The way I show things, um, in here in the story, I wouldn't recommend shipping these two characters because they don't necessarily have the best relationship, at least at this point. Um, and whether or not that changes, I won't say too much. Um, but yeah, and so she's like, okay, well maybe she like maybe you know um, she's really nice. Um, but Oritsu very quickly corrects that by punching her in the face. Um, and I'll talk about continuity here. So she reaches out with, oh, you know, uh, hmm, okay, continuity first. So she reaches out with her hand. Rin grabs it, right, and this is her right hand. Remember that. So this is her right hand, and they're looking into each other's eyes, and here, huh? What's this? What hand is being held out here? That's her left hand. And here we are. Her left hand is holding Ren's hand, and that is her right fist. And like, okay, sure, I guess. Um, not too bad, but then we get this punch, which happened with, well, it came from the left, which would be really hard to do from this position with your right hand. It's not a big issue, I guess, but it's a little thing that muddies the waters a bit, and I'm not a big fan of that. But we do get this panel, which I was really proud of when I drew it. I think it's really cool. Rin getting punched in the face, and Rin really takes a lot of beatings in this comic. Um, it, we have yet to get to most of them, but uh, this is just a first of many. It doesn't stop here, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I thought this was really cool to do. And Oritsu introduces herself. She's the leader of the club, and she'll let Rin join if she proves her strength to her. Um, and that's very nice and generous of her. Not really. Um, so I really wanted her to be like this cool sort of. I was drinking water. Sorry. Anyway, I wanted her to be this cool, sort of intimidating leader. Who, you know, just like by spending even a second on screen, you you can understand why she's their leader. You know, just by like looking at her design, even it's like going back to here. Um, she's dressed in this very like I don't really know. It's like very fancy. I don't know about fancy. It's very frilly, definitely, but it's like it feels royal, right? Um, which is um, in her name, believe it or not. So, hang on, I need to pull up Google Translate for this one because I don't remember exactly what the pun was. Um, but Oritsu in Japanese roughly means royal. So Oritsu is royal, um, at least uh, in how I try to make her feel. You know, when you look at her, and she definitely gives off a very royal feel. You know, she's very above everything, um, which is and here's a neat little trick uh, with like art and writing and stuff. Um, so with Oritsu being an imposing figure, I wanted to hang on, more water. Okay, I framed her as being above Rin, like physically, you know, and she's always looking down, right? Um, even here with Choco, who's more familiar with Oritsu, you know, um, you know, Oritsu's still like looking down on her, um, and even though you know, like in some of these panels, Choco takes up like most of the frame, or in this case, Rin takes up most of the frame. You know, she's still above them and looking down on them. And it's not really like a deep thing. It's just an effect, really. Um, you know, so that she feels more imposing, um, and she feels more powerful than all of them. And so, you know, Choco's like, hey, wait, she hasn't had any training on top of that. She barely knows how to use her Derivate. And Rin's like, it's fine. And there's a bit of a dialogue change in here. Let's see. Oh. um, okay, so like this drawing, the punch goes straight into Rin's face, and like her face caves in, and this is a lot more comical. um, oh man, Okay, so like Cat Club was going to be a lot more comical uh than it ended up being. Uh and it's kind of strange to think about because I've like things get so serious later on. It's crazy, but it started out as a not necessarily a joke story, but it was way more of a comedy than it turned out to be. Um, and then and it's just because of like little changes, like instead of Rin getting punched directly in the face, such that her face caves in, um, she just gets this, and this looks way more painful because of how like it's more kind of realistic, and this is just more comical. So like you see this and you're more likely to laugh because it's ridiculous. Um, so yeah, and then here, Rin and Oritsu just switch places. Um, bleh. So yeah, and then oh, here's the dialogue change. So she's like, she just got her dead body. You can't test her like that. And then Rin's like, it's fine, I'll do it. And then Choka just says, are you dumb? And this is more like placeholder dialogue. It's like instead of leaving it blank, I just put in something that's like mildly humorous to me. Um, and then here, well, I didn't know what I wanted them to say at all, but Rin's like, I need to join this club. And then Oritsu's like, hey, then show me your strength. And it's, what? It's, it's, again, it's like way more uh, goofy than anything I ended up doing. Um, and the final page, I think, is way better. Um, so she says, I need to join this club, but I changed that to I will join this club. And it shows like an extra level of determination and like conviction, you know. Um, yeah, I don't know. And what is like that passion? Maybe she'll surprise me. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a change, but I like this so much more than what I had in the thumbnails. Um, just because, well, like I don't know. I mean, first of all, it looks cooler, you know, and also you have Ren with her head tilted down, looking up, and Oritsu with her head tilted up, looking down. And this isn't my best drawing of Oritsu, but this is definitely one of my better drawings of Rin from this stage of the comic. It looks really cool. She looks cool. Um, and I don't know. I don't know. I like this. I like it. Um, and this uh, ends up actually being like important to both characters, sort of, mostly. And I will get into that more later on, but I will say that um, Rin is very determined to get uh, something, and she doesn't really say what it is at this point. Um, but I think we can guess. She's like, "There's one thing in this world that I want, and I'll do anything to get it." Um, and it's just to show like how important this is to her. Um, so, we're establishing Rin's wants, like what kind of person she is, and like we're also establishing stakes, not just for this fight, but like for the whole story. And we'll get into that, I guess, as we get into the story. But um, it's really important that she really wants this. Um, so, strong punch. Has she fought before? Um, and for now, I'll just say maybe. um, and then she gets kicked in the head. Okay, so these are like little action panels. I was really new to this, so I didn't really know what to do. But Rin, she's sort of punching like she's boxing or whatever, and she does like 3 punches like almost at the same time, sort of. And that's just like a very JoJo thing to do, but whatever. And Oritsu moves out of the way, and I guess to explain what's happening here, um, I mean maybe you can kind of follow it, but it's so weird. Like I don't. She goes down to dodge, and then once she's down, she like sort of spins into a kick. But I don't know if like the continuity here really explains that to you well, because like here she's going down on her left, um, but the momentum sort of it changes here. Like now she's going to the right. Um, and with action, it's very important to know um, the momentum of your characters, what direction they're going in, and how that carries into the next movement. At least for me, that's how I try to make it work. And I get better at it later on, so there's going to be more to dissect in later uh, episodes. But I don't know. These were very cool when I drew them, to me anyway. And then we get Rin doing a swear, but it's censored, so there's that. Let me get this. The peanut gallery. Uh, I don't know if I would have done the peanut gallery the same way if I was doing it now, but here's the peanut gallery. You know, uh, not not much to say, just a little gag here and Popu dialogue. Um, she loves fights. She just loves fights. And I won't say anything more until later. So, I mean, I'm sure like most of you have already caught up with the story, but I don't know who exactly is watching these videos. Blech. Okay. Jesus Christ, I don't even know how long I've been recording for. I think has it been over an hour already? It's getting close. Okay. So Rin's like acknowledging how difficult this is, and like she's way more agile, and she needs to use her claws, and like I haven't necessarily. It doesn't make a lot of sense why she needs to use her claws, but um, if she can figure out how to use them, then she can probably come up with a plan. But she doesn't know how to use her claws because she's a little bit of a dummy. But we love her. And she asks Choco how does she use her claws, and Choco's just like, what? It's the opposite of turning it off. And this is not really necessary. It's just like added tension or conflict to the fight. Um, it's to show that like Rin's not the smartest person in the world, which I don't know. You don't have any reason to not believe that. um, but this, the way Choco explains it, um, is definitely in character. It's it's not the most helpful way to explain it. But then again, this is the same person who who introduced herself to a scared teen by doing this. So, um, I think that's very much in character. She's not the brightest. Um, she's not the brightest knife in the crayon box. um, Neither of them are, and they're not really that good at communication. Um, but you know, like even though Choco's like really nice and careful about what she says to people, you know, uh, there are some things where she's just like she's not that good. Um, and so you know this confuses Rin just long enough for Oritsu to kick her in the throat, which is not a very nice thing to do. um, but the face is funny. This is yet another one of those I guess how I would say like One Piece inspired faces. Um, and this is more like something that you would see in One Piece where like the eyes are sticking out and they're making like this funny face. Um, I do use this face a couple more times in some later chapters, but this is probably one of the funniest little drawings in this episode, I think, or at least it's up there. um, what was that? Oh, okay. um, and you know, Oritsu's like, I'm insulted you don't think I deserve your full attention. Um, and you know, at this point in the fight, like, Oritsu wouldn't be too impressed with her. Um, but you also get the sense that like maybe she's trying to like egg Rin on, like to get her blood flowing or something. You know, because she took note of Rin's passion and you know the fact that she has some potential here. Um, so you know maybe she's trying to get a reaction out of Rin by saying this. Um, you know, she's like, I'm beginning to think you'll just be a dead weight on my team. Perhaps you're better off on your own. And you know, the style changes like drastically like between these few pages here. Um, and at this point, I was just like, you know, I think the style just stopped being like so flat. It's still a little flat in places, but you know, at this point, I wanted to make things a little bit more solid, and a little more detailed. So, because you know, it was a serious scene, and you know, I wanted this fight to be cool. So, you know, we have our little moment here. And Rin says she doesn't understand. That's why I'm here. Um, she doesn't want to be on her own anymore. And she brings her claws out, and um, she figured out she needed to flex her hand, but she seems angry. I I wanted this to be like, well, you'll see more later on, but um, she didn't necessarily figure out that she needed to flex her hand. Uh, and I hate to ruin people's interpretations. So if you have any interpretations of the story that somehow get ruined by these commentaries, then please just ignore whatever I say and enjoy the story however you want. Like it doesn't matter what my intentions were. Um, if you enjoy the story, and don't let me ruin that for you. Um, but if these commentaries make it more enjoyable for you, then here's an interesting fact. Uh, the intention here was that she was so angry that her claws came out because she was flexing her hand like out of anger. Um, and she didn't necessarily figure it out because that's not even what she's thinking about at this point. You know, she was confused about what Choco said because it's a confusing thing to say. I mean, it's pretty obvious what the opposite of turning it off is, but that's such an unnecessarily confusing way to word it that it's just confusing, you know. Um, and Rin at this point, she's not even thinking about it, right? So I think at least the way I show it, this is a little bit more out of anger than like anything else. Let's see. Kanjiru, what did that mean? Because almost none of these names are like actual names. They're just, oh, feel. Okay. So, okay, so her last name, Kanjiru, is, it's a reference to her derivare. So, her derivare, let's talk about that a bit. Whisker. She can feel anything in a 9-meter radius, which is a fat fucking distance, but whatever. I feel like it should have been 9 feet because that's a much shorter, more reasonable range, but 9 meters, very cool. um, and she uses her ability to react accordingly to whatever she feels. And there's a bit of a difference between Oritsu with her normal hair and Oritsu with her whisker hair. So, this is a little thing that I decided early on, that when characters use their derivare, I wanted there to be like a physical signifier. So, like when Choco uses hers, she gets all like creepy and her teeth get all sharp, right? And when Rin uses hers, as you can see here, her hand gets all like detailed, and you can see like I guess like the tendons in her fingers and stuff. And this is probably just the most detailed that I could draw a hand at the time, but I wanted her hands to get super detailed later on. And then, when Oritsu uses her whisker, her hair stands up, or it sort of stands up, and it gets all like sharp and spiky. And that's just a little thing. But these are details that I put in here because I thought they added to the story a little bit, or at least to the visual flair of everything. And we get this running panel, which I still really like. I think it's one of my better drawings from this era, I guess, of Cat Club. And then we get the slash, which is a pretty awkward slash. Like, her palm is facing up, so this was like a bit more like a karate chop, which is weird. But we get Oritsu dodging that, and she looks pretty cool. So there's that. And then we get this punch, which it's a little bit hard to follow what happens here. Hopefully not too hard, because like she comes down with the right hand, and her left hand comes back like this. And then in the next panel, her between this panel and the next one, her left hand is gonna swing at Oritsu, and it's gonna be a punch. And then Oritsu moves out of the way of that once again by sort of jumping like this. She didn't need to do that, but it's cool. This is a cool panel, and they're both like looking each other dead in the eye. And again, like my main concern at this point was fun, and it still is, but things making sense didn't really matter because this was supposed to be cool and fun. And I think this is probably one of the better action sequences in the whole thing, because this is pretty easy to follow. She swings with her right hand, left hand comes back, she punches, Oritsu moves out of the way. And this is like maybe the one confusing part about it. So it is her left hand in both shots, but it's a little hard to tell because the knuckles are on this side in one panel and now they're on this side in the other panel, and that's just a little awkward. And the reason for that is in the thumbnails, if I can get there. In the thumbnails right here. So what happened was I drew this hand and then this hand, and when I got to this, well, it stayed like this all the way up until I finished the line art, and then in the shading and everything. And that was a bit of a problem for me because, as you can see, the thumb here is on the right side of the hand when we're facing the back, and when we're facing the front, the thumb is on the where is that? The other side. The thumb moves. This is a left hand and this is a right hand. Wait, is it? Oh my god, it's not. Are you serious? No! Wait. No. It's been 2 years. Wait. Oh my god. Why did I? Okay, well. Shit. Okay. So these are both left hands. Um, oh, but you know what? Here's why it didn't make any sense. The action changed. So here, you know, Oritsu dodges to the right, and so it makes sense for the hand to turn in her direction and come down like on her face. Um, but in the final version, that's just not what happens. She does this because I thought that was more dynamic, more fun, more interesting. So the hand had to turn the other way. And I guess that's not really a problem. Um, I guess it kind of makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess we're good. But I didn't realize that it made more sense this way until until I changed this to this. Um, so originally this hand was facing the same way that it was in the thumbnails. Um, but since I changed the action up so that Oritsu would be on this side of Rin's hand. I just flipped the image, and I don't know. It works, I guess, but it's just a slightly more confusing than I feel like it needs to be. But that's it. uh, wow. Okay. Okay. So the change still made sense. It's just not for the reasons I thought it did. So Rin finally gets a hit in because here Oritsu has both her feet off the ground. And you know, when you're midair, I don't know if you know this, but it's really hard to move out of the way of things, which is why it probably wasn't very smart of Oritsu to do this. But also, she had no reason to believe that Rin would ever think to do something like this. Which is why this is supposed to be like a really cool moment. And I feel like it's kind of earned that this is how Rin manages to damage Oritsu. Because it makes sense. And the peanut gallery's celebrating for her. Um, Popa really hopes that she gets to fight her too. Anyway, um, you know, Oritsu's surprised, and then we get this little bit of information. For some reason, Oritsu can't sense her claws with her whisker. And there are reasons for that that I'm not entirely sure if I still plan to follow through on. But uh there may or may not be an explanation for that in the future. So, you know, Rin's like I said, I intend to join this club, and I don't know, this is a very um well, again, like my main inspiration for Cat Club was JoJo, and so I guess this is just where that inspiration shows through maybe the most, but there might be some more later on. And then Oritsu's just like, you know, fuck it, I'll just finish this fight here. Let me get this low kick, this sweep, and it trips Rin, and she falls and hits her head. And I'm very pleased with how I drew this, as well as this. So fun fact, uh, you can tell like the exact moment that I started reading Berserk. Yeah, it was around here when I drew this page, and I don't know. I was reading Berserk and it was really cool. Great manga, and it inspired me to draw more detailed pictures, which I am both thankful for and very upset about. But yeah. So we get this. And this shot is to, like, I don't know, like, I'm not really sure what Oritsu is thinking here, to be honest, but I think that's a big part of why I have panels like this, where the characters just make an expression. Um, I don't have a whole lot of those, but um, when there's something like this, I think it's a good opportunity for the reader to look at the expression and the situation, and sort of think about what is going on inside that character's head. What are they thinking? What could they possibly be thinking in this moment? And I feel like that makes the story a little more interesting, because there's a little bit of involvement on the reader's part. It's not all just me telling them what's going on, right? They get some say in what's happening, and I think that's really cool. And they're probably wrong answers to the question, what is she thinking? But I mean, really, she could be thinking anything, and I think that's cool that people can sort of put their own interpretation on her character, and try to figure out what she's thinking. And so, she walks away. She brushes her hair, and she says, "She's too inexperienced, but I like her." And so that's her justification for saying, if they all go on a mission with Rin and they approve of her, then Oritsu will let her in because she trusts their judgment. And Shoko says that she won't let them down, or she won't let her down. And if we take a look at the thumbnails here, this plays out more or less the same, except for here, where we get a shot of all of the club members giving their reaction to this. And I don't do that. I don't do that because this would have taken up like so much of the page, and I really just wanted to get the episode done with, because I think at this point I'd spent like how long was it? Like 5 months on this one episode, and it bothered me so much that I think I just took a hiatus for Christmas break. And well, I guess that's the end of the episode. And this is not the cover of Cat Club episode 3, but I will talk about Cat Club episode 3 tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next time, because I have a lot of thumbnail related things to say. A lot of very interesting things. So, that was Cat Club episode 2. I don't have much else to say, I don't think. These little flames are kind of important, but we'll talk about this more later. There's this. There's Aritsu's bite mark. This is the first time you see it. It's on her right hand, same as Rin's, but it's on the other side. So that's an interesting detail. Doesn't mean anything, but it's a detail. Um, I don't know. I could talk a lot more, probably, maybe, but I think I've said everything I needed to say. And if there's anything I forgot to mention, I'll talk about it in episode 3. Yeah, I think we're done here. I think we're done. I think we're done. So that was Cat Club episode 2. Thank you for watching. I know this one was longer than the first one. But the next ones should be shorter, so at least I think. Oy. Yep, so we're done here. We're done for today. And yep. God. Okay. I'm just gonna turn off the recording now. Goodbye, stay tuned.